2-hour, thing. But the point is,
two does it in the state of Georgia, for example. A person your size, 2 beers, and you fail the breath analyzer.
The point is that usually I drink club soda. The point is the guys drink beer. The point is, what I'm getting at is that those are real stories. I mean, the guys have seen it, and the police that send us material and information. It's kind of like the East German Stasi. No matter how big they are, the more they become corrupt, the more it makes good people make the decision to face what they're seeing. But the scary thing is, it's always the commanders that are the jackbooted lunatics. And that was the point I was going to make. They're putting the scum in the positions of authority.
Well, that was the famous line in Hayek's book, The Road to Serfdom. Why the worst always get on top.
Let's talk about this mortgage situation. We glazed over it, but from your research, I mean, how deep does this go? I mean, they're on record seizing houses that they don't even have deeds to that are paid for. You've got 2-3 banks fighting over the same home, claiming they all own it. I mean, this is just pell-mell, helter-skelter craziness.
Well, Alex, I don't know everything about it. But it seems like ownership of some of these loans is unclear because they were split up and put in all these different instruments, securitized and sold. So it's not clear that there is any path or paper trail of ownership. That's one problem. Another problem, the one that the Bank of America has sort of owned up to, is that so much fraud was associated with many of the subprime mortgages that the bank doesn't want to foreclose because it figures if it forecloses and somebody brings a legal case, that it may actually be guilty of fraud. And so they've stopped the foreclosures of banks on their books because they're afraid that so much fraud was involved in issuing the mortgages that it would bring the bank down. So you have, and then you have the mistakes or just the opportunistic grabbing that goes on where foreclosures are continuing. So the whole thing is a mess. I don't know how it would be sorted out or if it will be sorted out.
But it just shows the sloppiness of this hubris. I mean, they figured out their takeover, but there's also a lot of fundamental sloppiness. I mean, when somebody's arrogant and full of themselves, that's when you have the fall.
Well, you can have, yes. The dollar's falling. Was yesterday it was worth less than 95 Swiss francs. It was worth only, 95 Swiss cents. The dollar was worth less than 1 Swiss franc. It was worth less than 95 Swiss cents. It was worth only 99 Canadian cents. So the dollar is falling. And this does present a problem to the authorities.
Yeah, I mean, they can run their scam here in America and wallow all over us like a bunch of bloated jackboots, but at the end of the day, reality always comes crashing in. The problem is, when I've studied history, you can comment on this, I know you've studied it probably more than I, the bigger the empire is, the harder it falls. The more delusional, the further they run before reality kicks in, the worse the collapse is. And we can all sit here and look at the empire teetering, but it's going to be painful when it falls.
Yes, but first somebody has to stand up to the empire, and so far no one is. For example, it was yesterday, I think, that Hillary Clinton ordered Pakistan to raise taxes. And if they didn't, there would be no U.S. flood aid. Now, earlier this year, the Deputy Treasury Secretary in Washington ordered Pakistan to raise taxes so that they could better fight America's war against their own people. invading the tribal areas and so on. And they did raise the taxes. They did what we ordered them to do. And now they're ordered to raise taxes again, or they get no American flood aid. And Hillary gave orders to our NATO or our European puppet states and ordered them to also withhold aid from Pakistan if Pakistan didn't raise taxes. So who's standing up to us? You know, we succeeded recently in overthrowing the president of Honduras. Nothing was done about that. The Pakistani government.
But see that term you use, and I do that too. You say we succeeded. You mean this global corporate crime syndicate that uses the U.S. as its muscle?
It's government. We know what we mean. We mean by short.
Sure.
It's use lots of words.
No, I'm not. I'm not correcting you. I'm just pointing out that yeah.
I mean, and Hillary, in the same breath, said that she's worried, or that the U.S. government is worried, that the British government is cutting the military budget. In other words, the British, who are still reeling from all the American financial fraud, trying to put their budget under control, or cutting the military spending. So the United States government says, no, you can't do that. You won't be able to fight our wars for us in Afghanistan. So, you know, who is it that's standing up to us? You know, we circle Russia with missile bases, and we are still able to prevail on Russia to allow us to transport non-military items through their territory into Afghanistan. You know, food and medicines and whatever qualifies as that the troops need that qualifies as not guns and ammunition. So who stands up to us? No, you know, no one. The Chinese occasionally get umbrage or take umbrage with us, but they don't actually do anything. And so until somebody, you know, if Stalin hadn't stood up to Hitler, he would have taken Russia. So, are you still there?
Yes, sir. I saw your computer. You just cut out for just a minute, Dr. Roberts. That's a really good point you're making. I know it's unusual for me to not be interrupting you every 10 seconds, but I have been on the air almost 24 hours, so I apologize for not being...
That's the best time to talk to you, is when you're tired.
I'm just kind of like sitting back watching TV. I'm like, wow, there's the father of Reaganomics and a real economist who predicted all this. Wow, I'm just sitting here on the radio and TV watching Dr. Paul Craig Roberts sit there and talk about everything that's happening. But go ahead.
You go ahead. It's your show.
No, I'm not interrupting. Go ahead. Oh, that's funny.
Well, you know, what disturbs me is 3 times since we've been on, Skype has gone down. Now, that's never happened before. Do you suppose we're being monitored? You're being monitored?
I had General Hamid Gul on, and he doesn't ever have phone problems, a former head of Pakistani intelligence, and it was all sorts of stuff. I mean, Dr. Roberts, I've had things happen, and I hate to talk about it, but it's so real. Let you know what goes on. And they always do it when I'm out of town. When I was at Bilderberg 2008 covering it, we had just finished. The meeting was over. We were flying out that night. We went to a little steakhouse hamburger place, and we're sitting there, and I call my wife, and I go, yeah, honey, I'll be home about midnight tonight. You know, we're flying out of here, out of Virginia at about 8. Love you. And then she told me about some family issues with her parents and some illnesses. And I say, all right, well, you take care of that. I'm sorry to hear it. I love you. And I hang the phone up. She calls back 4 minutes later crying. And it's a stand. They've done this a couple other times. They call up with a woman, and they say, oh, hi, I'm calling for Alex. Well, okay, I'll leave a message. He's not here. Okay. And my wife's like, well, who is it? And she goes, well, who's this? I'm pregnant with Alex's baby, and we're going to be getting married. And my wife's like, well, that's impossible. And then she goes, listen, you effing bleeper. I hope your sick parent dies. I heard it all, and we're going to chop your frickin' head off. And they've done that 4 or 5 times over the years. Like, I'm watching the little dog in the backyard. My wife's looking, there's the dog. You know, and they're like, oh, I can't wait to cut your head off, whore. And, I mean, that's who these people are. Yeah. But they want you to know it's the government. They're listening to your phone, and then they call you and tell you they were listening. I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, that's the scum that work for these people.
Well, they're getting away with it. And there's literally no accountability. Nothing.
Have you ever had harassment like that where they call your wife up and, you know, say that you're cheating or something?
We don't answer the phones.
No, but I mean, have you ever gone through any harassment and persecution?
Well, you never, you know, things happen and you never really know exactly why. They don't. So I can't answer that. I don't really know. I think on the whole, they'd rather start somewhere else and take their time about getting to some of the other of us.
Yeah, they probably didn't like it when I got on one part of the property on the property line, and David Rockefeller and Richard N. Haas all came out and were demanding the police stop us, and they wouldn't. And I was bullhorning the world leaders in their meeting for about 15 hours straight. I would imagine they didn't like that too much, so I guess that's why we got the death threats.
That could well be the explanation.
Oh, man. But, you know, it's a good feeling, though, Dr. Roberts, to be past the point of no return. I mean, I'm just all in, fully committed, the family, everything, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to give in to these people.
Well, did you see, I saw today that they've shut down WikiLeaks.
No, I didn't see that. Will you guys Google that? They shut down WikiLeaks?
Well, I think I saw that on antiwar.com today, that they've shut it down by blacklisting it, which makes it impossible for anybody to donate funds to it.
Oh, yeah, that's the Chinese style of doing that.
So, in other words, maybe I don't know the details. I mean, but all they have to do is declare it as something that aids and abets terrorism, and then anybody who donates to it can be arrested for aiding terrorists. And then, of course, you're really into it. You lose all legal protections, all civil liberties. You have no habeas corpus, no legal representation. They can rendition you, torture you, keep you detained for the rest of your life. So you can't assume they won't do this to your show.
Well, we know cybersecurity gives Obama the, quote, kill switch, and whatever puppet teleprompter reader comes after him. So it's definitely serious times we're in, and an iron curtain of tyranny is ascending all over the world, not just the United States. It's this same global corporate crime syndicate. But, Dr. Roberts, I mean, what are they going to do when they just destroy everything? I mean, I guess the public will thank them because they can be arrested as terrorists if they criticize them, and we'll just have, like, public events where we lick the boots of whoever the local commissar is?
I don't know the answer. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I know how our puppet states fit into it, you know, like the Europeans and the British. And our puppet states in the Middle East, like Egypt and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and now Iraq and Japan, which is an American puppet state. But how other countries fit, I don't know. I mean, I assume we try to buy their leaders. We try to purchase their leaders, and we may be having some success in Russia. I just don't know. Dr.
Roberts, is that a cat begging for something?
If I could get up and let him, he wants to go on the porch.
No, that's great. Will you show us the cat?
Well, I wouldn't want to because the goons may come and shoot him.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen these news reports?
Get up and let him out because I respond to him, okay?
Great.
Say something.
That's awesome. Have you seen these news reports where they, like, shoot small dogs because they bark at them when the cops come in? And they're just a bunch of devils, man. They just enjoy pain. WikiLeaks founder blocked after blacklisting. WikiLeaks funding blocked after blacklisting. And this is out of USA Today. Whistleblower WikiLeaks says its funding has been blocked and it's being targeted for financial warfare by the federal government. The Guardian, a British news organization, reported money bookers, internet payment company,